Hello, I'm Abigail DeJarnatt.
My name is Allison Lind.
I'm your host, Grant May.
My name's Noelle Fitchett.
And welcome
back
to the Counteract Podcast. All right, welcome back to the Counteract Podcast. Super excited about this. Back at our 2024 Resolve to Stand conference, we recorded interviews with a lot of our speakers, and we are super excited to be releasing those now. Hope you're encouraged. I hope you enjoy.
All right, we are here at the Counteract USA Resolve to Stand conference with a very, very special guest, Allie Beth Stuckey, who has just walked off the stage from giving an incredible call to action for us. Allie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're just so excited about you being here, our ministry. I shared with Allie a little bit that your ministry, your podcast has been such an instrumental part in my personal testimony, my walk with Christ. I was on my senior trip in 2019, sitting on the beach, listening to like the podcast, the You're Not Enough podcast, the one. And it dismantled my entire worldview of what being a Christian woman looked like. So thank you for your influence. Can you kind of just give us a quick recap of what you talked about?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for your kind words. I love how God uses the lives and the words of believers to encourage each other and to call each other to action when we need to. And I love being like 32 and already being able to like look back at the upcoming generation and feel, okay, we're passing the baton. Not that I'm out of the race, but we are looking back and I'm seeing young people like you and even younger rise up and say, okay, I'm going to stand for Christian values in this generation too. And really, my talk today was just to remind people that when we're talking about politics, it's not just some abstract issue. Politics matter because policy matters because people matter. Politics affects policy, policy affects people, and people matter. They matter to us, they matter to God. When we're talking about abortion, immigration, justice, all of these things, like we are talking about the real lives of real people, vulnerable people, and Christians have always stood on the side of the most vulnerable. That's why political engagement, at least in the kind of country that we live in, with the system that we have, is so vital because the policy represented by the politicians that we vote for has a real effect on babies in the womb, has a real effect on people who are living at the border and, of course, even the interior of the United States, has an effect on people in poor neighborhoods when you defund the police and they no longer have a mechanism of safety. So all of these things, the things that we vote for, really matter in the lives of the people that we're called to love. And I want people to stand unapologetically on the right and true side.
So encouraging. Our theme at this conference is becoming a Josiah generation. Josiah became king at 8, receives this broken culture, is so rended by the word of God that he turns to the Lord with all of his heart, soul, and might. What's your final call to action, your encouragement for Gen Z who has been handed a broken culture and now I have to do something with it?
Yeah, and he smashed the idols and the altars to the false gods. And I love King Josiah. Everyone should admire him and that story. And it really should be an example to all of us of what righteousness looks like when we live in a dark world. And hard times can create really strong people. And I don't want my children to live in hard times. I don't want my grandchildren to live in hard times. I want them to live in great times. But if they're not going to live in great times, I want them to be strong. Like I want them to be ready. I want them to be prepared. I want them to be lights in the darkness. And so I take my responsibility not only as someone who's trying to encourage people like you and encourage other people to get involved, but gosh, primarily as a discipler of my kids, of like, we are going to make sure that you know the word of God because it's scary out there. And I want them to be the kind of people that by the time they get up there, they really are. They're making change for the better. And for their children, they're looking at America that it really is freer, really is a better culture of life. We really do champion Christian values even more effectively. So that's my hope and what my work is for.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for joining us here in Northwest Arkansas and for joining us here today.
Thank you so much.